The galaxy burns. The Sith Armada under Darth Malak continues its relentless march toward galactic dominance. The Jedi Order, already weakened from the Mandalorian Wars, now faces its darkest hour as former heroes turn against the Republic, seduced by the power of the dark side. As more star systems fall each day to Malak's forces, the fate of the Republic rests in the hands of the remaining Jedi Knights. The Jedi Civil War had plunged the galaxy into chaos. Following the death of Darth Revan, his former apprentice, Darth Malak, took control of the Sith Empire and continued the war against the Galactic Republic. The conflict had divided the Jedi Order, with many knights turning to the dark side and joining Malak's forces. In the years leading up to the tragedy that would plunge the galaxy into darkness, the echo of a previous war still resounded in every corner of known space. The Republic, weakened by the bloody conflict against the Mandalorian clans, was only beginning to rebuild its fleets and its confidence. It was in that void of leadership, in that still open wound, that two figures emerged who would forever change the fate of the galaxy. Revan and Malak, Jedi Knights who, after disobeying the High Council and leading their own followers into war, and with the help of the Republic's resources, succeeded in defeating the Mandalorians. However, tragedy would not take long to return to the galaxy. For some time after the victory, its greatest heroes returned transformed into something far more terrifying. The fall of Revan and Malak to the dark side did not merely mark a shift in the balance of power. It was a tragedy of galactic proportions. Those who had once symbolized hope had become instruments of fear. Their betrayal shattered the trust in the Jedi Order and sowed a deep wound within its ranks. Many believed that the moment Revan crossed the threshold into darkness was the exact point at which the Republic began its true decline. It was not only the loss of two powerful knights, but the corruption of their legacy, a devastating display of the price of arrogance and disobedience. Those who had once been saviors of the Republic returned as conquerors. Darth Revan, now Dark Lord of the Sith, hidden behind a mask that no longer represented a Jedi, led a dark empire forged with cunning, power, and secrets. At his side, his apprentice Darth Malak, impatient and brutal, awaited the chance to leave his own fiery mark upon galactic history. The new Sith Armada arose more powerful than any force before it. From the shadows and with surgical precision, Revan launched a campaign of conquest that sought not only military victory, but the complete transformation of galactic order. Systems fell without mercy, and many Jedi, confused by the Council's inaction and seduced by the power emanating from the dark side, abandoned their original cause to swear loyalty to the new warlords. But Revan was no mere tyrant. Just as in the Mandalorian Wars, his strategic brilliance made him an almost mythic figure, even to his enemies. Where Malak attacked with fire and brutality, Revan moved ahead with cold calculation, bending wills. To some, Revan represented a warning, to others, a legend. His fall was as imposing as his rise. None could deny his brilliance or his impact. Still shrouded in mystery, his name was whispered with both respect and fear among those who had faced or followed him. His end, like his story, was veiled in shadow. But even in his absence, the echo of his will continued to resonate across the galaxy. Worlds faded like dying stars, as Malak, unrestrained, sought to subjugate all that Revan had once dreamed of transforming. And in the midst of the chaos, the surviving Jedi fought desperately, knowing that each defeat was not just a military loss, but one more step toward the end of everything they had sworn to protect. Against this backdrop, the Republic starship the Endar Spire was traveling through space on a critical mission, transporting the Jedi Bastila Shan, whose skill in battle meditation made her a vital asset to the Republic war effort. However, the attack on the Endar Spire was sudden and devastating. A Sith fleet ambushed the ship over the planet Taris. Among the crew was a Republic soldier who, awakened by the chaos of battle, found himself embroiled in events that would change the course of the war. Trask Ulgo, a fellow barracksman, helped him during the early moments of the attack. Trask stressed to the soldier his duty to the crew, and he sought to protect Bastila, the leader of this mission, and help her escape the Endar Spire alive. During the attack, Bastila would need all the help she could get, so the soldier was forced to act. His reputation preceded him within. Reports indicated that he had completed elite combat training with exceptional qualifications. Instructors had noted that they had not seen such talent in over 2 decades, yet all that potential is worthless if it is not demonstrated when it truly counts. Trask Ulgo helped the recruit navigate his way to the breach of the ship. During their escape, the Sith had already boarded the Endar Spire, and their attack was merciless. Their primary goal of helping Bastila suddenly changed when they discovered that the Jedi had managed to escape in an escape pod. Now, they had to escape as well. Without Bastila aboard, the Sith would not hesitate to destroy the ship. During their escape, Trask and the soldier encountered Darth Bandon, a dark Jedi and apprentice of Malak. In an act of sacrifice, Trask decided to face the Sith alone to give his companion time to escape, meeting his death at the hands of the Dark Lord. Shortly after, the soldier received another transmission from Cartho Nasi, an experienced pilot who guided him to the escape pods. The path was not easy, as more Sith troops tried to block his way. Finally, the soldier reached the last section of the ship where the escape pods were located. There, he reunited with Cartho Nasi, who informed him that they were the last survivors aboard the Endar Spire. With no time to waste, they both escaped the ship. The pod detached itself and headed toward the planet Taris, marking the beginning of their adventure. During a deep rest, the soldier experienced an intense vision. In it, the Jedi Shan faced a dark Jedi. Upon awakening, he found himself on Taris, a planet completely occupied by Sith Imperial forces. Cartho Nasi, who had managed to discreetly escape the impact zone of the escape pod to avoid capture, explained the critical situation. Taris was under total lockdown. Sith ships patrolled its orbit, preventing any entry or exit. The city was divided into levels: the upper city, middle city, lower city, and under city, each strictly controlled by Sith forces. Cartho Nasi and the soldier analyzed their situation, and the priority was clear: locate Shan. The investigation revealed a complex picture. Tarisians lived under the constant gaze of Imperial patrols. Every conversation and movement had to be calculated to avoid raising suspicions, all with the sole purpose of finding some clue about the Jedi's location. The Sith invasion transformed the upper city. The exchange, under the leadership of Davik Khan, took advantage of the chaos to expand its influence. Davik, a ruthless crime lord, established a network of illegal operations encompassing countless crimes and infractions. The Sith presence left gaps in the social structure that the exchange quickly filled. The soldier and Karth located an elevator leading to the lower city. However, a Sith guard blocked access, allowing only uniformed Imperial troops to pass. The search for Bastila became more complicated. They had heard rumors of an escape pod landing in that area, but without access to the lower city, rescue was impossible. However, a solution emerged. After inspecting the area, they managed to obtain Sith armor, which they wore to use the elevator and access the lower city of Taris. In the lower city, the recruit and Karth found themselves in the middle of a confrontation between rival gangs. The Hidden Vex and the Black Vulkars exchanged fire in the hallways. The Hidden Vex, led by Gadon Thek, were once the dominant force in the lower city. Their code of honor and protection had even led them to participate in the Mandalorian Wars as the Taris resistance. However, an internal betrayal shifted the balance of power. Vrajik, Gadon's former protege, rebelled against his mentor, and took control of the Black Vulkars. Under his command, the Black Vulkars abandoned any pretense of honor. They became a violent gang. Their aggressive territorial expansion sparked an open war with the Hidden Becks, turning the lower city into a constant battleground. In search of information, the soldier and Karth entered the cantina. The tense atmosphere was heightened by the presence of Calo Nord, a legendary bounty hunter. 3 local thugs made the mistake of provoking him. In an almost imperceptible movement, Calo Nord eliminated the 3 aggressors. The soldier and Karth witnessed firsthand why Calo Nord was considered one of the deadliest bounty hunters in the galaxy. After this, the soldier and Karth Onasi continued their search for information. It was then that they met Mission Vao and Zalbar. With their knowledge of the streets of Taris, they became key allies. Mission mentioned that she would be retreating to the Hidden Beck space, something the recruit and Onasi overheard, prompting them to go there in search of information. Upon arriving at the base, Mission, who already had a relationship with the Becks, intervened and helped the soldier gain Gadon's trust. Gadon Thek, a respected leader, was the missing piece for the 2 Republic soldiers. He revealed that Shan's escape pod had been found and that the Jedi had survived the crash. However, the Black Vulkars had captured her and were holding her prisoner. Most worrying was that Brejik was planning to offer Shan as a prize for the winner of the upcoming swoop race. Gadon proposed a plan. If the soldier won the race, he could claim Bastila as a prize and free her. However, to race under the patronage of the Hidden Becks, the soldier had to meet one condition: recover a prototype accelerator that the Vulkars had stolen. This device represented a strategic advantage. Access to the Vulkars' base would not be easy, so Gadon offered them help. They would infiltrate through the sewers of the Undercity to reach the base, with the help of Mission Vao and Zalbar, who knew the sewers well. In the lower city, the group witnessed an altercation. A Davik agent confronted 2 members of the Black Vulkars. The tension dissipated with the appearance of Canderous Ordo, a Mandalorian who worked as Davik Kang's chief enforcer. Ordo wore the weight of his Mandalorian heritage with pride. A veteran of the Mandalorian Wars, unlike many mercenaries, he maintained a strict code of honor. His current position as a member of Davik's organization was more a matter of convenience than loyalty. The advance through the lower city was complicated by encounters with groups of Black Vulkars. Each confrontation revealed more about the mysterious soldier's capabilities. His combat skills exceeded what was expected of a simple soldier. Onasi watched with growing concern. As a veteran, he recognized that there was something unusual about his companion. Finally, they reached the elevator to the Undercity. The descent revealed a grim reality of Taris. This level housed the exiles and their descendants, people banished from the surface for minor crimes generations ago. In the Undercity, the soldier and Karth met Endar, a man who acted as an informal leader among the inhabitants. He gave them some context about everything that had happened there and the constant dangers. Beyond the settlement's protective gates lurked the Raguls, mutated creatures that spread their condition through their wounds. The Ragul disease transformed its victims into similar beasts, perpetuating a cycle of horror. The inhabitants lived in terror, aware that every exit could result in infection or death. While exploring the area, the soldier and Karth encountered Mission Vao, who informed them that Zalbar had been captured. Mission had managed to escape, but she was determined to rescue Zalbar. Vao proposed a deal. If the soldier and Karth helped her free Zalbar, she would guide them to the Black Vulkar's base. The soldier agreed to the deal. The group headed into the sewers, facing enemies on their own turf. The soldiers' combat experience proved crucial in these encounters. After eliminating the slavers, they found Zalbar. The rescue culminated in a solemn moment. Zalbar pronounced a life debt to the Republic soldier, the highest honor in his culture. Mission, bound by ties of friendship to Salvar, also swore her loyalty to him. The next step was to infiltrate the Black Vulkars. With Mission and Salvar as guides, the group advanced through the dark damp tunnels, avoiding traps and facing enemies. Upon reaching the base's entrance and infiltrating it, they discovered a heavily defended complex. The group proceeded cautiously, eliminating guards and disabling security systems. Finally, they reached the entrance to the Black Vulkar's base. The group infiltrated, avoiding guards when possible and confronting them when there was no other option. After skirmishes with members of the Black Vulkars, the group recovered the prototype accelerator. Upon returning to the hidden Vex base, Gadon Tech received the prototype with satisfaction, confirming that it was in perfect condition and that the hidden Vex now had a real chance of winning the swoop race. Tech fulfilled his part of the deal. He sponsored the recruit to participate in the swoop race, providing him with a bike equipped with the prototype accelerator. It was the perfect opportunity to rescue the Jedi. Swoop races were common in the lower levels of Taris. Pilots drove high-speed repulsor vehicles through obstacle-filled tracks. Speed and precision were crucial. Competitors had to maintain control while accelerating to set the best time. During training, the soldier demonstrated extraordinary adaptability. His reflexes and anticipation surpassed what was expected of a beginner. On the day of the competition, Shan remained captive in a cage. The soldier performed his race with astonishing precision, setting a record time that no other competitor could match, securing victory. Despite the victory, Brejik refused to hand over the prize. He accused the soldier of cheating, claiming that the use of the prototype accelerator invalidated the competition. The situation erupted into violence. Bastila, taking advantage of the confusion, managed to free herself. The soldier and the Jedi fought side by side against Brejik and his henchmen. Their coordination was instinctive, as if there was already a connection between them. After an intense battle, Brejik fell, and his followers fled. With the prize finally rescued, a crucial part of the mission was complete. However, the challenge of escaping Taris remained, and time was running out. The pilot, the Jedi, and the soldier regrouped, knowing there was no time for celebrations. Taris was under a Sith blockade, and escaping the planet was their immediate priority. As they planned their next move, the soldier decided to share something that had been troubling him since arriving on Taris. He confessed to Bastila that he had experienced a strange vision. He saw her fighting a powerful enemy, Revan. She, surprised but intrigued, explained that such visions were uncommon and were signs of someone sensitive to the Force. Though she did not delve deeper into the topic, she made it clear that it was something they needed to consider, especially in such dangerous times. As they talked, the group realized they would need to devise a grand plan. The Sith blockade was impenetrable for an ordinary ship. However, just as they began to feel their options dwindling, a messenger arrived at the apartment. The messenger, sent by Ordo, delivered a brief but blunt message. The Mandalorian wanted to meet with the soldier. The mercenary claimed to have an offer. He was not someone who made invitations without reason. His reputation as a relentless warrior and his connection to David Kang made him a useful figure. Everyone agreed to meet with the Mandalorian. On their way to meet Ordo, Bastila and the soldier engaged in a conversation where the Jedi summarized all of her rescuer's activities, gathering information, discovering her location, evading all Sith guards, infiltrating the secret base of a dangerous gang, and becoming the Taris swoop champion. Such feats would not be difficult for someone sensitive to the Force, but for a simple soldier like him, it was something that intrigued the Jedi. With this argument, she conveyed her suspicion that the soldier was Force sensitive. The recruit, the Jedi, and the pilot met the Mandalorian at the local cantina. Ordo, impressed by the soldier's growing reputation, proposed a direct deal. mutual assistance to escape the planet. He had been deceived by Davik after not receiving his payment, leaving him with nothing left on Taris. The Mandalorian explained the existence of a ship capable of leaving Taris, the Ebon Hawk, Davik Kang's ship. But to do so, they needed the Sith navigation codes to evade the planetary blockade, as without them, they would be disintegrated by the Sith defenses. The deal was simple but dangerous. The recruit would obtain the codes from the Sith military base, while Condorus would facilitate the ship. To access the base, they needed a specialized astromech droid, as the place had an encrypted security system. Ordo directed his new ally to Janice Null to acquire T3M4, a T3 series utility droid specifically designed to hack security systems, thus gaining the technical capability needed to penetrate the Sith base's defenses. The infiltration began. T3M4 managed to deactivate the main security system, allowing everyone to enter undetected initially. However, the calm did not last long. The base's corridors were heavily guarded by squads of Sith soldiers and combat droids, but all were overcome by the Republic soldier and his group. The final battle took place in the command center, where the Sith governor of Taris awaited with his personal guard. The governor demonstrated superior mastery of the Force. However, the soldiers' determination and skill prevailed. After defeating the governor, the soldier successfully extracted the codes, fulfilling his part of the deal, and escaped the base. After succeeding, the recruit reunited with Ordo in the Taris cantina. The Mandalorian had prepared a precise plan. He would present a soldier to Davik Kang as a promising mercenary, someone who could be valuable to his criminal organization. This strategy would give them direct access to the estate and, more importantly, to the Ebon Hawk. Davik Kang welcomed the new ally at his private estate. The crime lord explained the exchange's operations on Taris and showed interest in recruiting someone with the soldier's demonstrated skills. During the tour of the estate, Davik particularly boasted about the Ebon Hawk, his most prized ship, explaining that it was protected by a sophisticated security system. Once inside the estate, the soldier and the Mandalorian set their true plan into motion. The group prepared to steal the Ebon Hawk from Davik's hangar. However, the plan was disrupted when the Sith fleet, under Darth Malak's command, began positioning its ships above Taris. As the group headed toward the hangar, they encountered Davik and Kalo Nord. Davik, understanding everything, erupted in fury over the betrayal and confronted the group alongside his bounty hunter. The combat was intense, with Nord demonstrating why he was considered one of the galaxy's deadliest bounty hunters. During the battle, Sith bombardments began hitting the estate. Amid the chaos, Kylo Nord, finding himself outmatched, attempted his final move by activating a thermal detonator, but was interrupted by the partial collapse of the hangar. Davik fell in combat, and Kylo Nord was seemingly buried under the rubble. The destruction of Taris unfolded as the group boarded the Ebon Hawk. The Sith fleet had initiated a massive orbital bombardment, systematically destroying the city planet. The Ebon Hawk managed to ascend among the ruined buildings, dodging debris and explosions. Once in space, they used the stolen Sith navigation codes from the military base to evade the planetary blockade. Bastila suggested Dantooine as their destination, where the Jedi Enclave could offer them refuge. As the ship entered hyperspace, the occupants watched helplessly as Taris was reduced to ruins by Malak's relentless bombardment. The Ebon Hawk landed in the fields of Dantooine, where the Jedi Enclave stood as a refuge of peace after the chaos of Taris. True to her word, Bastila presented the soldier to the Jedi Council. The council, composed of Masters Vandar, Vrook, Dorak, and Jar, analyzed the soldier with particular interest, perceiving something he himself did not understand. During this first meeting, the Council revealed something extraordinary. The soldier possessed a powerful connection to the Force, something unusual for someone his age. This revelation explained his extraordinary abilities. The Masters debated his discovery at length, aware of the risks of training someone older than traditional initiates. The Force bond between the soldier and Shan was another topic of deep discussion. This connection, described as rare and powerful, allowed them to share visions and sensations, something the Council considered significant. It was likely a phenomenon known as a Force bond. After deliberating, the Council made an unprecedented decision to accept the soldier for Jedi training. Master Lestin was designated as his initial instructor. Under his tutelage, the soldier learned the ways of the Force with astonishing speed. Additionally, the Council determined that the soldier had to face the 3 traditional trials to be admitted into the Jedi Order. The first trial required him to recite the Jedi Code, demonstrating not only memorization, but deep understanding. The second trial involved the construction of a lightsaber, a crucial moment in every Jedi's life. Master Dorak explained the traditional meanings of the crystals: blue for Jedi Guardians, dedicated to combat and protection; green for Jedi Counselors, focused on the study of the Force; and yellow for Jedi Sentinels, who balanced combat and diplomacy. The third trial was the most dangerous, facing the darkness. A young Jedi, Yuhani, had fallen to the dark side, and the soldier had to confront her. This encounter tested not only his lightsaber skills, but also his ability to maintain serenity in the face of the dark side's temptation. After this, the new apprentice was admitted into the Jedi Order. Following this, the Council revealed their true concern: ancient ruins near the Enclave that Revan and Malak had visited years earlier before their return as Sith. The ruins emanated a disturbing energy, one that even the Council had already sent Jedi to investigate, but none had returned. The shared visions between the young Jedi and the new Padawan seemed connected to this place. The Council ordered an investigation of these ruins, aware that they held clues about the path that had led Revan and Malak to the dark side. The Council hoped that sending the new Jedi to investigate would serve as both a final trial and a step toward discovering a broader truth about the threat facing the galaxy. The visions came with clarity. The Padawans saw Revan and Malak, still in the Jedi Order at the time, entering the ancient ruins of that planet. Malak had doubts about what they were doing, knowing that the ancient Jedi had sealed the archway for a reason, and the power of the dark side in that ruin was strong. Malak knew that if they crossed that line, the Order would never forgive them. Seeking reassurance from Revan, Malak asked if the search for the secrets of the so-called Starforge was truly worth it. In response, Revan gave a concise answer, delving into the ruin and discovering a hidden star map. The place emanated an ancient and powerful energy, with echoes of past events resonating through the Force. The Padawan and the Jedi ventured forth, following the same steps Malak and Revan had taken long ago, until they encountered a droid, the Overseer. The meeting with the Overseer revealed astonishing truths. The droid was a guardian left by the Builders, an ancient race that had dominated the galaxy 20,000 years before the Republic. The Overseer explained the legacy of the Builders, a civilization that had constructed the Starforge, an ancient space station of immense power. The Builders had conquered countless worlds, using slaves of various species to build their infinite empire. Internal strife and their connection to the dark side eventually led the Builders to their downfall. The droid confirmed that Revan and Malak had been there years earlier, seeking information about the Starforge. The droid had provided them access to the location containing a star map, part of a larger set that, when completed, would reveal the Starforge's location. After obtaining this information, Revan and Malak had begun their descent into the dark side. The Overseer subjected the Padawan and Shan to the same test it had applied to Revan and Malak. After proving themselves worthy, it allowed them access to the star map, which showed part of an ancient space route. The star maps were ancient artifacts that revealed the exact location of the Star Forge. Each map contained a different part of the coordinates needed to reach this space station. This map, combined with others scattered across the galaxy on different planets, was the key to locating the Star Forge, the very artifact Revan and Malak had sought, and which was likely the source of their military strength now, during the Jedi Civil War. The revelation in the ruins marked the beginning of a greater quest. The Jedi Council understood that finding the remaining star maps in the Star Forge was crucial to stopping Malak. During the journey on the Ebon Hawk, Bastila tried to maintain her Jedi composure, but found it increasingly difficult to ignore her growing attraction to her companion. Their conversations became more frequent, and though she tried to keep her distance by citing the Jedi Code and the dangers of emotional attachment, she could not help but feel drawn to the charismatic Padawan's personality. Meanwhile, Darth Malak received an unexpected report from Calo Nort, who had survived the bombardment of Taris. The bounty hunter informed him that Shan and Onasi had managed to escape the planet before its destruction. This news enraged Malak, who saw the young Jedi as a significant threat to his plans due to her power with battle meditation. He immediately ordered an intensification of the search for the Jedi and her companions. The Ebon Hawk landed in Anchorhead, a small spaceport on Tatooine. The scorching heat of the desert planet greeted the crew as they planned their search for the star map. The city served as the operations base for the Czerka Corporation and a starting point for venturing into the vast desert. During their stay on Tatooine, Bastila and her Padawan companion shared another vision through their Force bond. In it, they saw fragments of a deep cave in the desert where the Rakata had hidden the star map. The spaceport of Anchorhead stood as a refuge in the middle of Tatooine's desert, with its dusty streets and buildings designed to withstand sandstorms. In the vast desert of Tatooine, finding the map seemed like an impossible mission. However, during their investigation, the Padawan discovered that the Sand people knew the desert dunes best. These nomadic tribes inhabited the deepest regions of the desert and guarded their territory fiercely, attacking any intruders who ventured into their domain. The search for information led the Jedi to the offices of the Czerka Corporation, a powerful galactic commercial entity that controlled much of the operations in Anchorhead. The Czerka Corporation was an ancient trading company that had expanded across the galaxy, establishing mining, commercial, and exploration operations on numerous worlds. On Tatooine, Czerka was primarily engaged in mineral mining and hunting krayt dragons for their valuable pearls, in addition to maintaining administrative control of the spaceport. Speaking with a Czerka representative, the Jedi learned about the Czerka hunter licenses, a mandatory requirement for anyone wishing to venture beyond Anchorhead's limits. These licenses served as official permits, authorizing holders to hunt, explore, and conduct commercial operations in Czerka-controlled zones. They also functioned as a form of control and record-keeping, allowing the corporation to track who entered and left the city, supposedly for security, but mainly to protect their commercial interests. After minutes of insistence, the Czerka representative agreed to grant the Padawan a hunter's license on the condition that he eliminate the troublesome Tusken raiders, whose constant attacks affected mining operations, something the Jedi accepted. However, in the streets of Anchorhead, a Duro confronted the Jedi, revealing Czerka's brutality against the Tuskens and suggesting a peaceful solution, as the Sand people were only defending their ancestral territory from corporate expansion. This left the Jedi reflective, and to find a new, peaceful solution, the Padawan would need different help. In this case, the need for an interpreter to communicate with the Tuskens led the Jedi to Yukalaka's shop, where he found HK-47, a supposedly protocol droid with knowledge of the Tusken language. After negotiating the price, the Force-sensitive individual acquired his new droid, HK-47, joining the already diverse group that included Bastila Shan, Carthonasi, Mission Vao, Zalbar, Canderos Ordo, Juhani, and T3M4. With the Hunter's license in hand and HK-47 as an interpreter, the Padawan and his team left Anchorhead to venture into the desert. After exploring the vast desert of Tatooine, the new Jedi and his team managed to find the Sand People Enclave, where they were met with hostility. HK-47 facilitated a first peaceful contact with the tribe, specifically with its leader. The droid translated the Padawan's words, and after threats and a complicated conversation, both sides reached an innovative solution. The Tusken leader planned to move away from Anchorhead, so his people would need to build up stores of water. For this, the leader asked the Padawan for help in obtaining moisture vaporators. This technology was crucial for their survival in the desert, as it would allow them to extract water from the atmosphere without relying on scarce oases. After their agreement, the Padawan and his team returned to Anchorhead to efficiently obtain the vaporators and then return to the Tusken Enclave. Impressed by this unprecedented diplomatic approach, the Sand People chief made a significant gesture by presenting the Gadurfii, a ceremonial weapon representing the leadership and wisdom of his predecessor. Along with this tribal relic, he shared crucial information about the location of the star map in the eastern Dune Sea. Following the map's directions, the group arrived at a canyon where they encountered a dragon inhabiting the area. After eliminating the creature, the Padawan ventured into the cave, where the second star map awaited. It contained crucial coordinates for locating the Starforge, taking another step toward understanding Rakata technology. However, the victory was interrupted by the appearance of Kalo Nord, the bounty hunter who had survived the destruction of Taris. Nord, accompanied by a group of well-armed mercenaries, sought revenge in the bounty offered by Malak. The ensuing confrontation was brutal, with exchanges of blaster fire and grenade detonations echoing throughout the canyon. Despite Nord's deadly reputation and the numerical superiority of his mercenaries, the Padawan and his team prevailed, definitively eliminating this persistent threat and securing their path to the next star map. Now, after completing the primary objective on Tatooine, the Padawan and his team had to depart for the next location. The Ebon Hawk crew landed on the space platform, a Circa Corporation trading post established on the highest branches of the gigantic Rocher trees. Kashyyyk is a planet covered by dense jungles where life thrived at various levels. The upper canopies, where Wookiee tribes build their villages connected by wooden bridges. The middle levels, less explored. In the Shadowlands on the surface, home to deadly creatures. As on Tatooine, the two Jedi shared another vision through their Force bond, showing them the star map hidden in the dangerous Shadowlands. And also, as on Tatooine, the crew encountered the presence of the Circa Corporation, revealing a devastating reality. The corporation had established a lucrative business selling Wookiees as labor across the galaxy. Moreover, all Zerka officers on the planet held a deep disdain for the native inhabitants, going so far as to eliminate them mercilessly and mistreat them for any reason, causing great anger in Zalbar. To maintain this trade, Zerka collaborated with corrupt Wookiee leaders who betrayed their own people. Zalbar, the Wookiee companion of the group, faced a painful return to his home. As the son of Chief Rayer, he had discovered the corruption of his brother Chundar, who conspired with Zerka. When confronting his brother, Zalbar had used his claws in combat, an act forbidden in their culture, and was subsequently labeled a Madclaw and exiled. Zalbar had left Kashyyyk, carrying the shame of his exile and the weight of the truth no one had wanted to hear. In the capital, the group encountered Chunder, Zalbar's brother and current leader. As chieftain, Chunder had accepted the unacceptable. He had secretly allied with the Circa Corporation, allowing the exploitation of his own people in exchange for power and wealth. His manipulative and cruel personality was hidden behind a facade of a leader concerned with his people's progress. During the meeting, Chunder revealed that he recognized his exiled brother, but, instead of executing him, proposed a deal to the Jedi. He must descend to the Shadowlands to eliminate another Madclaw who threatened his authority and Zerka's corporate activities. As collateral to ensure the Jedi fulfilled this mission, Chunder would keep Zalbar as a hostage. This forced the group to accept, though luck was on their side, as they would gain access to the Shadowlands and could search for the star map. The descent to the Shadowlands of Kashyyyk was through a system of elevators in the tree trunks. This place was legendary for its danger. The dense darkness beneath the giant tree canopies housed some of the galaxy's deadliest creatures. Terentatex and other lethal beasts lurked in the perpetual gloom, while poisonous and carnivorous plants added further dangers. The oppressive atmosphere and constant sense of peril reminded everyone why the Wookiees considered the Shadowlands a test of courage and why few ventured into its depths. In the Shadowlands, the group encountered Jolee Bindo, an enigmatic hermit who turned out to be a former Jedi. Bindo had participated in the Great Sith War, fighting against the forces of Exar Kun and Ulical Droma. However, his story was more complex. He had separated from the Order, exiling himself on this planet. Jolee proposed a deal to the group. He would help them find the star map if they first eliminated a group of Circa Corporation hunters operating in the Shadowlands. His motivation was clear. These hunters not only disturbed the forest's natural balance, but also collaborated with the Wookiee slave trade. Exploring the Shadowlands proved extremely dangerous. The group faced terrible creatures like a fearsome Terentatek, a beast created by Sith alchemy, also known as Jedi killers. During their exploration, the group discovered an ancient journal belonging to Gunhan Saresh, a Jedi Master who had participated in the Great Hunt of 3995 before Battle of Yavin. This historical event was a Jedi Order initiative to eliminate beasts created by Sith alchemy, particularly Terentatex, which had proliferated during the Great Sith War. The journal revealed details about Saresh's dangerous mission on Kashyyyk, where he lost his life trying to eradicate these creatures. In the depths of the Shadowlands, the group found an ancient Rakata computer, a technological relic of that lost empire. The machine, programmed with advanced artificial intelligence, began interacting with them by presenting a series of dilemmas. The questions addressed themes such as sacrificing the weak for the strong, the survival of the fittest, and using power to dominate others. Each dilemma was designed to reflect the philosophy of dark power, domination, and the prevalence of the strong over the weak. The Padawan responded to these dilemmas. However, the computer, programmed to recognize and approve answers aligned with the Rakata philosophy and the dark side, deemed these responses incorrect and activated its defense systems, deploying ancient droids to eliminate the group. During the battle against the droids, the computer continued scanning the Padawan's brainwaves. To its surprise, these brainwave patterns matched exactly with stored records. This coincidence was no accident, so the computer, recognizing this, changed its initial evaluation and granted access to the star map. The star map of Kashyyyk, like the other fragments, revealed part of the Starforge's location, achieving the objective. However, before leaving the jungle planet, the Padawan and the Ebonhawk crew had one more thing to do. In the Shadowlands, the group encountered Freyr, the exiled father of Chunder and former leader, the Madclaw Chunder had referred to and tasked the Jedi with eliminating, his own father. Freyr had been marked as a Madclaw and forced into exile in the Shadowlands, where he had survived all these years while watching his people suffer under his son's corrupt leadership. The Padawan and Freyr developed a plan to overthrow Chundar. However, for Freyr to legitimately reclaim his position as leader, he needed the ceremonial sword of Baka, an ancient artifact symbolizing the right to rule among the Wookiees. This legendary sword had belonged to the great warrior Baka, and its bearer was considered the true leader of the Wookiees. The search for the sword led the Padawan to face a beast in an ancient trial of worthiness. After an intense battle, the Padawan recovered the blade of the ceremonial sword. The Kashyyyk rebellion began when Freyr, the Padawan, and their allies returned to the capital of the planet. The final confrontation took place in the throne room, where Chundar was protected by loyal Wookiee guards and Zerka mercenaries. The battle was fierce, forcing Zalbar to choose between his brother and his father. Ultimately, Zalbar sided with his father, recognizing his brother's corruption and the need to free their people. After defeating Chundar and his followers, Freyr reclaimed his rightful place as new leader. His first act was to expel the Zerka Corporation from Kashyyyk, ending years of exploitation. Zalbar was exonerated from his Makla status and recognized as a hero among his people, though he chose to continue his life debt with the Padawan and remain on their mission. With the situation on Kashyyyk resolved and the star map secured, the group prepared to depart for their next destination in search of the next map fragment. In the Sith fleet, Sol Karath reported to Darth Malak about Kalo Nord's failure to eliminate the Padawan's group. Faced with this setback, Malak decided to send his apprentice, Darth Bandon, to complete the mission, trusting that his dark side abilities would be sufficient for the task. The next destination in their search for the star map led the group to Manaan, an oceanic world governed by the Selkath, an amphibious species known for their strict neutrality in the conflict between the Republic and the Sith Empire. The capital, Atto City, was a gleaming floating metropolis, the only settlement on the planet's surface where both factions coexisted under strict laws. Upon arriving on Manaan, Bastila and the Padawan share another vision through their Force Wand. It revealed that the star map lay deep beneath the ocean, significantly complicating their search. The Sith presence on Manaan was considerable, but constrained by Selkath policy. Any act of violence or aggression between the factions was severely punished. This neutrality was maintained primarily due to the Selkath's control over Kolto. Kolto was a unique natural resource of Manaan, a powerful healing agent used throughout the galaxy to treat wounds and illnesses. Its importance was such that both the Republic and the Sith Empire were forced to maintain peace on Manaan to secure its supply, especially crucial during the war. The Padawan and his team headed to the Republic Embassy seeking information about the star map. There, they met Roland Wan, the Republic's chief diplomat on Manaan. Wan agreed to help the Ebon Hawk crew in exchange for their assistance in a task, recovering an exploration droid containing sensitive data that had been captured by the Sith. Without hesitation, the Padawan accepted. Infiltrating the Sith base required meticulous planning. Inside the base, they had to evade patrols, disable security systems, and fight sentry droids. The tension was constant, knowing any mistake could trigger a diplomatic incident with the Selkath. After overcoming multiple security levels and eliminating several Sith guards, the group retrieved the damaged droid's data module. After recovering it and successfully evading and defeating enemies in combat, the Ebon Hawk crew returned to the embassy. Here, the true nature of their mission was revealed upon their return to Roland Wan. The droid had originally been used to investigate a secret Kolto facility the Republic had built on the ocean floor. The droid had lost contact after an ancient artifact was discovered, and several teams of mercenaries sent to investigate never returned. This alarmed the Padawan, who realized it was the star map. Deciding to investigate, one provided the group with a submersible to access the underwater facility. Upon arrival, they found a disturbing scene. A surviving mercenary on the brink of madness warned them about frenzied Selkath attacking indiscriminately. To continue their exploration, the Padawan had to equip a specialized environmental suit and a sonic emitter to defend against hostile sea creatures. In the depths of the facility, two surviving scientists revealed the cause of the chaos, a massive creature which the Selkath called the progenitor had been influencing the local Selkath, driving them into a violent frenzy. One scientist had developed a poison to kill the creature, but the Padawan, understanding the shark's connection to the planet's natural balance, chose instead to destroy the KOTOR harvesting machinery. This decision proved wise, as the progenitor calmed, allowing the Padawan to access the star map hidden in the depths, achieving their objective. However, the mission didn't end there. Upon resurfacing, the group encountered Darth Bandon and two Dark Jedi who had been tracking them. The Padawan demonstrated his growing mastery of the Force, defeating Bandon and his acolytes in a duel that demanded both skill and strategy. With their success on Manaan, the search continued. During their journey through space, the tension between the Jedi and the Padawan finally reached its peak. Despite the strict Jedi teachings on emotional control and attachment, both succumbed to their shared feelings in a special moment, sealing their connection with a kiss. The relative calm of their journey was shattered when the Ebon Hawk was intercepted by the Leviathan, the imposing flagship of Admiral Saul. The Imperial cruiser activated its powerful tractor beam, leaving the Ebon Hawk with no chance of escape. Aware of their imminent capture, the crew quickly gathered to devise a plan. They determined it was crucial for one of them to remain free to later rescue the others. After a tense discussion, they selected the most capable member for this vital mission. As anticipated, Saul's forces boarded the Ebon Hawk. Shan, the Padawan, and Onasi were separated from the rest of the crew and placed in individual containment cells in different sections of the ship. The other companions were similarly imprisoned. Admiral Saul, Karth's former mentor who had betrayed the Republic to join the Sith, personally oversaw the interrogation of the three primary prisoners. Using force fields specifically designed to inflict pain, Saul subjected the prisoners to intense torture sessions, focusing particularly on the young Jedi. His goal was to extract information about the Jedi mission and the location of the Jedi Academy. Despite the agony, the prisoners resisted revealing crucial information. Meanwhile, the separated crew member set the rescue plan into motion. Moving stealthily through the Leviathan's corridors, they accessed the ship's security systems. After locating their companions, they deactivated the containment cells. Once freed, the group headed to the storage area where their equipment and weapons had been confiscated. They reclaimed their belongings, preparing to face the resistance they would encounter in their escape attempt. After being rescued and retrieving their gear, the Padawan, Shan, and Onasi decided to head to the ship's bridge controls to open the hangar doors where the Ebon Hawk was held and escape the ship. Additionally, the heroes had to hurry. Bastila sensed Malak's approach, and none of them were a match for the Sith Lord. She ordered the rest of the Ebon Hawk crew to return to the ship, while she, the Padawan, and Onasi undertook the dangerous mission of reaching the bridge controls. The Leviathan's corridors became a path of destruction as the group advanced toward the bridge. The Padawan led the assault. Every movement flowed seamlessly into the next, as if the Force itself guided their actions. The Sith soldiers who tried to stop them fell one after another, unable to withstand the power emanating from the two Jedi warriors and the pilot. Karth held his ground with determination, covering their flanks with precise shots, but his tension grew with each step closer to the breach. The weight of his shared history with the Admiral bore down on him. Saul had been more than a superior in the Republic fleet. He was the man who shaped Karth's military career, a mentor who became a father figure. Karath's betrayal during the bombardment of Telos had not only destroyed Karth's homeworld, but also claimed the lives of his wife and shattered his family. That wound, never fully healed, burned with renewed intensity. Upon reaching the bridge, they found the Admiral waiting for them. The former Republic hero greeted them with a smile that concealed years of darkness. His elite troops formed a protective wall around him, but his eyes were fixed on Karth, his former protege. What followed was an inevitable battle between the two factions. The Padawan's lightsaber, combined with his innate Jedi abilities, made him a deadly weapon, while Bastila and Karth complemented the assault with coordination born of countless battles fought together. Karath demonstrated why he had been one of the Republic's finest strategists, but the Force favored the intruders. Finally, overwhelmed by the combined power of his opponents, Saul fell, mortally wounded. In his final moments, he called Karth to his side. With a weak but malice-laden whisper, he revealed a truth that exploded in Karth's mind like a detonation, shattering his certainties and leaving him vulnerable. Karth's expression twisted into a mask of horror and confusion as his former mentor's words etched themselves into his mind like a final poison. Furious, he confronted Bastila, demanding to know if Saul's last words were true. Terrified, the Jedi begged the pilot that now was not the time. Malak was on his way to the Leviathan. She promised they would talk later. After opening the docking bay doors, it was time to head to the Ebon Hawk and escape the Leviathan. The Leviathan's corridors echoed with the sound of hurried footsteps as the group sought their escape. The tension from earlier still hung in the air, but the need to flee outweighed any reflection on what had happened. However, fate had other plans when a dark and familiar presence emerged before them, blocking their escape route. Darth Malak stood imposingly, his presence radiating a dark power that seemed to consume the very air in the corridor. His eyes gleamed as he studied the Padawan with a mix of curiosity and disdain. His gaze first settled on the Jedi, declaring in his metallic voice that his efforts to haunt her would not be in vain. Yet his attention soon shifted to the Padawan, admitting he needed to confirm with his own eyes a truth that defied all logic. The Padawan's confusion at Malak's words only provoked a dark laugh from the Sith Lord. His adversary's ignorance seemed to fuel his satisfaction as he declared that not even the full power of the Jedi Council could bury the truth. Then, like a dam breaking, memories began to flood back. Bastila words on Dantooine about Jedi mercy toward prisoners took a new meaning. The Council's exceptional acceptance of training an adult now carried a sinister significance. Karth's warnings about the Force's power to alter minds and identities no longer seemed like mere speculation. The star maps appeared in rapid visions, each an echo of steps taken long ago. Master Vrook's concern about a familiar path now revealed itself as a desperate warning. Shan's words about turning an enemy into an ally preceded a vision of her duel against the masked Sith. The hero of the Republic and the Jedi Order, the one who had fallen from grace and become a Sith Lord seeking to conquer the galaxy, and the Padawan searching for answers to his past. They were all the same person, the legendary Revan, a fragmented identity, reconstructed by the power of the Jedi Council and guarded under Bastila's watchful eye, now emerged from the shadows of oblivion to confront its true self. The pieces fell into place with brutal clarity: the extraordinary lightsaber skills, the deep connection to the Force, the battle instincts that seemed to rise from nowhere, all now had an explanation. They were not the gifts of an exceptional Padawan, but the remnants of Revan's legendary power seeping through the mental barriers imposed upon him. The bitterness in Malak's presence was palpable as he questioned the Jedi Council's mercy. The former apprentice who had betrayed his master to take the mantle of Dark Lord could not comprehend why the Jedi had chosen to save and redeem the one who had betrayed them first. The weight of the revelation intensified when Malak recounted the events leading to Revan's fall. With cruel satisfaction, he described the moment of betrayal. While Republic ships attacked Revan's flagship, Malak, aboard his own vessel, had given the order to fire upon his master. It was not a battle that defeated the mighty Darth Revan, but the betrayal of his closest ally. In the aftermath, Shan, leading the Jedi strike team amid the destruction, had seized upon this betrayal. The young Jedi had made a decision that would alter the course of history. Instead of letting Revan die, she used the Force to sustain the flicker of life remaining in him. The Jedi Council, seeing a unique opportunity, took Revan's near-lifeless body and, through the power of the Force, rewrote his identity, burying the Dark Lord beneath layers of new memories and a singular chance to gather intelligence on the Star Forge. The destinies of Revan and Malak, once intertwined in their fall to the dark side, crossed paths again in a moment that would forever alter the course of the war. Malak's need to utterly defeat Revan was such that he was eager to prove himself and vanquish him, ensuring no one would doubt his place on the Sith throne. The confrontation between Malak and Revan reached its climax as their lightsabers clashed in the Leviathan's corridor. The corridor lit up with flashes of red and blue as the former friends, now mortal enemies, exchanged lethal blows. Bastila, observing the duel and aware of the imminent danger, made a decision. In an act of sacrifice, she stepped between the combatants. With determination on her face, she ordered Revan and Karth to escape while she held Malak at bay. There was no time for arguments. Her resolve was unshakable. Malak, pleased with this unexpected turn, focused his attention on the Jedi as Revan and Karth were forced to press on without her. During their escape to the Ebon Hawk, Karth wrestled internally with the newly revealed truth. The man he had come to respect as a comrade was in fact Revan, the very Dark Lord who had caused so much destruction in the galaxy. Upon reaching the Ebon Hawk, the full crew gathered in the main hold. The revelation of their leader's true identity elicited varied reactions. Mission remained unwaveringly loyal. Jolee revealed he had already known the truth. Ordo expressed renewed respect now that his new leader was the legendary Revan, while Yuhani reflected on redemption. Even HK-47 recovered his memories, recognizing his true master. Despite initial doubts, the Ebon Hawk crew united in their purpose. The mission to stop Malak and rescue Bastila became their shared goal. Revan's redemption would not be a solitary path. His team, forged in battles and trials, would stand by him in the quest for the Star Forge and the fate of the galaxy. In the darkest reaches of the galaxy, the Ebon Hawk descended upon Korriban, a planet whose arid surface concealed millennia-old secrets. Dreshte stood as a testament to Sith presence, a city forged in metal and shadows, where mercenaries and Sith aspirants converged under the watchful eye of the Academy. From the moment Revan set foot on the planet, the presence of the dark side was undeniable. The Sith Academy loomed imposingly over the valley, its ancient stone walls whispering silent tales of power and ambition. Its massive gates, adorned with ancestral Sith symbols, promised forbidden power and knowledge to those brave, or foolish, enough to seek it. Into Revan's misfortune, accessing the star map on Korriban required passing through the key, the Academy, something he couldn't do without admission. The first step in infiltrating the Academy came through Yuthura Ban, whose facial tattoos spoke of her dedication to the dark side. As an apprentice to Headmaster Uther Wynn, she maintained a delicate balance between loyalty and ambition. Her offer was clear. To enter the Academy, one needed to prove their worth through a prestige medallion. the competition for prestige was fierce. Aspirants from across the galaxy, each with their own ambitions and secrets, vied for a place in the academy. In the halls, conspiracies and betrayals wove as thickly as the spider webs in ancient tombs, as each candidate sought to outmaneuver their rivals by any means necessary. Infiltration would require more than strength or force power. It demanded cunning, the ability to navigate the Academy's political currents, and the will to immerse oneself in darkness without being consumed. Every step on Korriban was a balancing act between maintaining cover and resisting the dark side's seduction, which permeated every stone on the planet. During his exploration of Korriban, Revan ventured beyond the Academy's limits, delving into ancient caves that pierced the mountains. In these caverns, he discovered evidence of a past tragedy, the remains of a failed Jedi mission led by Duron Kaldroma and Shayla Nur. The pair had come to Korriban after the Great Sith War with the intent of hunting down all monstrous creatures created by Sith alchemy, an era known as the Great Hunt. Despite being Jedi and believing in the Jedi Code, both succumbed to their desires. Shayla and Duron fell in love, sealing their doom. This was the final straw, as their group included a third hunter, Duron and Shayla's friend and colleague, Gunhan Sarish, the same Jedi who had perished on Kashyyyk and whose journal Revan had found. After rejecting this love, the trio of hunters disbanded, weakening the group. During a hunt on Korriban, the couple ventured deep into the planet's depths, where a Tatooine mortally wounded Duron Kaldroma. Long before this event, Duron had experienced a prophetic vision that directly connected him to Revan and Malak, years before either Sith had taken action in Jedi conflicts. Unknowingly, Duron had prophesied everything that would happen. He saw Malak torturing Bastila and witnessed the enslavement of the Wookiees. But the primary vision was what Duron, on his deathbed, foretold. He saw Revan taking his robe, and before dying, he witnessed Revan defeating Malak. After establishing himself in the Sith Academy, Revan ventured into the Valley of the Dark Lords, a sacred necropolis for the most powerful Sith Lords in history. This valley, carved into Korriban's red rock, represented the power and grandeur of the ancient Sith Empire. Its monumental tombs and statues stood as silent witnesses to an era of Sith dominion. The Republic, after its victory in the Great Hyperspace War, had exacted ultimate vengeance against the Sith by destroying all of Korriban, including this place. Yet it endured through time. The valley lay abandoned for centuries, guarded only by the spirits of ancient Dark Lords and the beasts that dwelled in its depths. Headmaster Uther Wynn, following the Sith tradition of survival of the fittest, allowed his students to freely explore the tombs. This seemingly permissive policy concealed a more sinister purpose. The tombs served as a natural filter, weeding out the weak and unworthy. Those who perished in the tomb's depths were deemed too weak to be Sith, while survivors proved their worth through cunning and power, earning prestige. The tomb's arrangement in the valley followed a specific pattern. 2 tombs stood on each side of a central path. On the left were the tombs of Naga Sadow and Marka Ragnos, while on the right lay those of Tulak Hord and Ajuntapal. In Ajuntapal's tomb, Revan faced living shadows guarding the ancient halls. Restless spirits and Tukara beasts tested his resolve as he advanced toward the main chamber. The crucial encounter was with the ghost of Ajuntapal himself, consumed by centuries of regret. He challenged Revan to identify his true sword among replicas. Pal's tormented spirit, haunted by past choices, revealed his remorse over the dark side's path, offering a unique perspective on the nature of the Sith. Marka Ragnos' tomb presented a labyrinth of deadly traps and ancient droids. Revan overcame defenses designed by the master strategist. The prize was Tulak Hord's mask, an artifact of great power that demonstrated the ancient Dark Lord's mastery of combat arts. In Tulak Hord's tomb, Revan encountered Jorak Uln, the Academy's former headmaster, who had turned the tomb into his personal refuge. Uln subjected Revan to a twisted game of Sith philosophy questions, where each wrong answer resulted in torture for a captured student. This test evaluated not only Revan's knowledge of Sith doctrine, but also his ability to remain calm under pressure. Lastly came the tomb of Naga Sadow, chosen by Uther Wynn as the final trial. The supreme challenge. The chamber complex was filled with Terentatex, beasts created by Sith alchemy to hunt Force users. Yet, after all Revan had endured, the most significant element within the tomb was the star map, the last one he needed. After obtaining it, Sith conspiracies surfaced. The final confrontation unfolded when Uther Wynn and Yuthura Ban revealed their true intentions. Wynn, suspecting his apprentice's betrayal, attempted to use Revan to eliminate her. Ban, meanwhile, sought Revan's help to overthrow her master. The conflict culminated in a three-way showdown in Naga Sadow's tomb, where Revan had to choose between supporting Wynn, Ban, or facing both. After this, Revan emerged from the final tomb alive, ready to escape Korriban. Fleeing the Academy became a frantic race against time. Once Revan's true identity and purpose were exposed, Sith students and masters mobilized to pursue him, yet managed to escape the Sith planet alive. As a prisoner, Darth Malak subjected the young Jedi to relentless torture. Shan resisted the Dark Lord's attempts to break her will. Malak, recognizing the power of Bastila's battle meditation, sought to turn her into his new apprentice. His methods combined physical torment with mental manipulation, probing her deepest doubts and fears. The Ebon Hawk emerged from hyperspace in the Starforge system, a place shrouded in the Darkseid's power. The crew beheld for the first time the monstrous structure dominating space, the Starforge, an ancient Rakatan space station towering over the system's sun, absorbing its energy. This colossal construct combined technology and power on an unprecedented scale. Its metallic spires stretched like dark tendrils as solar energy fueled its mass production systems. Their approach to the Starforge was interrupted when the Ebon Hawk came under attack from the Sith fleet guarding the station. After overcoming this first challenge, the crew's misfortune continued as the ship was caught in a disruptor field, losing control of its systems and hurtling toward an unknown planet, Rakata Prime. However, before crashing, the Ebon Hawk managed to transmit the system's coordinates to the Republic. This tropical planet, hidden from galactic records, was in fact the homeworld of the Rakata, the ancient builders of the Starforge. Rakata Prime held the secrets of a civilization that once ruled the galaxy. The Rakata, divided into primitive tribes, were the fallen descendants of a technologically advanced empire that had built the Starforge millennia ago. The planet's surface was dotted with ancient ruins and temples, but not only that. It was also littered with wreckage from ships that had succumbed to the disruptor field. The local Rakata tribes lived violently, fiercely guarding their territory and the relics of their past. The Ebon Hawk was damaged, but parts from the surrounding ship graveyard could replace the broken components. The bigger problem was the disruptor field, especially if the Republic was on its way. They needed to deactivate it, as it was part of an ancient defense system designed to protect the Starforge and keep unwanted visitors from Rakata's secrets. Upon venturing to the surface, Revan and his team encountered the first native inhabitants, the Black Rakata, a hostile tribe that attacked outsiders unprovoked. This violent first encounter set the tone for what they would find on this mysterious world. The need to deactivate the disruptor field led Revan to the Temple of the Ancients, a monumental structure towering over Rakata Prime's surface. This temple was not only the source of the field that had downed their ship, but also the key to accessing the Starforge. Exploration revealed the temple was protected by ancient Rakatan technology, requiring a specific ritual for entry. Revan discovered the complex political divide among the Rakata. The Elders, custodians of the Infinite Empire's advanced technology, were locked in a prolonged war against the Black Rakata, who had adopted a more primitive and aggressive lifestyle. During their exploration, Revan and his group reached the Elders' Council, who recognized him immediately. During his previous visit as a Dark Lord, he had skillfully manipulated both Rakata factions. He had promised power to the Black Rakata while deceiving the Elders to gain temple access, all in his quest for the Star Forge. This past betrayal now complicated his efforts to earn the Elders' trust, as they bitterly remembered his deceit. To prove he had changed and win the Elders' trust, Revan undertook a crucial mission, rescuing members of the Elder tribe who had been captured by the Black Rakata leader. After succeeding in this mission, Revan finally convinced the Elders to help him, paving the way for their cooperation in accessing the Temple of the Ancients. The Elders insisted Revan must enter the Temple of the Ancients alone, following their sacred traditions. However, Juhani and Jollibindo insisted on accompanying Revan. Defying Rakata traditions, both Jedi followed their leader into the ancient structure. The temple proved to be a labyrinth of ancient corridors and ceremonial chambers, each protected by Infinite Empire defense systems and Dark Jedi allied with Malak. The dark side's presence intensified as the group advanced toward the summit, where they would find the disruptor field's mechanism. Yet what they found was far more personal and challenging. Bastila Shan had fallen to the dark side, becoming Darth Malak's new apprentice, and she was waiting for them. The confrontation with the former Jedi revealed how much the young Jedi had changed under Malak's influence. Shan tried to convince Revan to reclaim his former title as Dark Lord, arguing it was his true destiny. She appealed to their Force bond, attempting to awaken memories of his past power as a Sith Lord. The moment was critical. Revan faced not only the dark side's temptation, but also the possibility of losing someone who had become fundamental to his redemption. Despite Shan's seductive promises of power and their deep connection, Revan remained steadfast in his commitment to the light, rejecting her offers and staying true to the Jedi path he had chosen. After this, Bastila retreated. After the confrontation and deactivating the disruptor field, the group returned to the Ebon Hawk with renewed urgency. The Republic fleet was assembling for a final assault on the Star Forge, and time was of the essence. The ship's repairs were swiftly completed, and preparations for the final battle began. The galaxy's fate hung by a thread, and the mission's success would depend not only on the Republic's military strength, but also on Revan's ability to confront his past once and for all in the heart of the Star Forge. The battle for the Star Forge began when the Republic fleet, under Admiral Forn Dodonna and Jedi Master Vandar, emerged from hyperspace to engage the Sith forces. The space around the ancient Rakatan station became a battlefield, marking the start of the Battle of Rakata Prime. Republic cruisers and starfighters clashed with the imposing Sith fleet guarding the station. The Ebon Hawk led a squadron carrying a team of Jedi. However, Republic morale was low. They knew Bastila had fallen to the dark side and was using her battle meditation against them. The ancient space station, fueled by the nearby sun's energy and the dark side's power, endlessly produced battle droids and ships for Malak's forces. Their mission was critical: penetrate the Star Forge's defenses and establish an entry point for Republic forces. Once inside, Revan and his team faced fierce resistance. The station's metallic corridors teemed with battle droids and dark Jedi, all programmed or trained to defend it at all costs. The battle reached its climax when Revan separated from his companions to face Bastila. The encounter was more than a lightsaber duel. It was a battle for the young Jedi's soul. The former Jedi, using her battle meditation to strengthen Sith forces, had become a cornerstone of Malak's strategy. The confrontation with Shan was intense and emotional. Throughout their force bond, Revan reached the light still within her. His words appealed not to power or glory, but to the love and compassion they had shared. He reminded her of her dedication to the light, her commitment to justice and peace. Despite the dark side's corruption, their bond proved stronger than Malak's influence. Finally, Revan's love and the strength of their connection achieved the impossible. Bastila recognized the darkness she had embraced and chose to return to the light. Her redemption was not only a personal triumph, but also a strategic blow against Malak's forces, as her battle meditation now strengthened the Republic in the decisive battle for the Star Forge. After Shan's redemption, Revan had no time to celebrate. The Star Forge's power pulsed through the station. The final confrontation between Revan and Darth Malak unfolded on the Star Forge's observation deck, a massive circular chamber overlooking space where the battle between Republic and Sith fleets raged on. The former apprentice and former master stood face to face, their intertwined histories reaching their inevitable conclusion. The duel began with a brutal exchange of lightsabers, each strike laden with years of shared history and betrayal. However, Malak had prepared a sinister advantage. The chamber was surrounded by stasis pods containing Jedi captured during the sacking of Dantooine's academy. These Jedi, suspended between life and death, were drained of their life energy by Malak to restore his strength during combat. Whenever Revan wounded his former apprentice, Malak absorbed the Force from a captive Jedi, instantly rejuvenating himself. The duel reached its climax as Malak, facing a Revan at full power, began to weaken. Their lightsabers clashed with increasing intensity, sparks illuminating the chamber as the two former friends turned enemies reached the end of their long conflict. In the final moments, Malak was overpowered. Revan's decisive strike pierced his former apprentice's defenses, and Malak fell to his knees. In his last moments, Malak reflected on his fall to the dark side, acknowledging that perhaps he had always been the apprentice, first following Revan into darkness, then watching as Revan found the strength to return to the light. As life faded from Malak, his final words were of belated understanding, recognizing that Revan's true strength lay not in the dark side's power, but in the ability to redeem himself and choose a different path. Thus ended the life of Darth Malak. With his death, the cycle of betrayal and vengeance that began with Revan's fall to the dark side finally came to an end. The Star Forge began to destabilize, the ancient Rakatan station succumbing to the Republic fleet's combined assault and the loss of its Sith master. Revan, victorious yet somber, left behind his former friend and apprentice's body, heading for escape as the station began its final descent into destruction. The Star Forge's explosion lit up space like a second sun. The Sith forces, leaderless, descended into chaos. The Republic fleet secured ultimate victory. On Rakata Prime's ancient beaches, under the tropical sun's glow, Republic forces and the Jedi Order gathered among Rakata ruins for a victory ceremony. Admiral Dodonna and Master Vandar presided over the ceremony, where Revan and his companions, Bastila Shan, Carthonasi, Mission Vao, Zalbar, Jolie Pinto, Juhani, Canderas Ordo, T3 and 4, and HK-47 were awarded the Cross of Glory. The highest decoration for valor, they were named Saviors of the Republic. The culminating moment came when Revan stepped forward. Master Vandar raised his voice to honor Revan for his actions. The Jedi Order now had another tale to weave into its grand history, the redemption of Revan, the Prodigy Knight. On that lost world, where ancient Rakatan technology had facilitated both the rise and fall of the Sith Empire, the galaxy celebrated not just a victory, but a triumph over darkness. The ceremony on Rakata Prime would become a symbol of hope, reminding future generations that even in the darkest moments, light would find a way.